Hello, everyone. Welcome to be here. My name is Edwin Rogers, and I'm here with Michael Mansouri. And today we're going to talk some really cool technologies, specifically volumetrics and virtual sports. So let's get the show started. Okay, so how are you doing today, Michael?
Hey, Edwin, great to see you again. Doing very well, thank you.
All right, awesome. So, Michael Mansouri, you have been working with Radiant Images. You're the co-founder of Radiant Images, and you have been doing some of the most amazing 360 video work that I have ever seen. I want to show people a little taste of what we're going to talk about. So check out this project.
Ready? Deny the mark. Set out. Bring up.
It's turning out to be a beautiful day in Kansas City.
Let's go. Let's go, Mike 52.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright as the day. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
It's like a day in the life of POV of our lifestyle.
Oh my gosh, if that's a day in the life, I want your life. I'm definitely, that is just, I remember when I first saw that, I was like, how did you do that?
Yeah, well, the behind the scenes show. So it's great. Edwin, and we're huge fans of your work as well. I know you're always pushing the boundaries, and we all look at each other, and I think that's the beauty about forming new ways of thinking, new ways of doing things. We all are learning from each other, and we all bleed, and we are bleeding edge of technology together. And it's really exciting to be part of a great community that is very open to change in a system and in a world of entertainment and media where it's very risk adverse, and they don't necessarily break what's not broken yet. We have few of the brave that are always striving to break the tradition and strive for something that could be more immersive, more connected. And I think that's all of what our community is about. And hopefully we can inspire others to let go of the safety rails of the ship and maybe jump in the ocean with us.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk a little bit specifics. How was this accomplished? And tell me a little bit about the project, the details that you can share.
Sure. So the project was brought to us by one of our directors that we work with, and they wanted to do a POV, and they didn't want to use GoPros. And obviously, we're in the same boat. We all want to strive for, we're highly visual people, and the visual aesthetic is really important, especially if you want to immerse people. If you want to make people feel, there's two different things. There's how you make people, you show things to people, and how you affect a feeling and an emotion. And if you want to affect a feeling and emotion, that you are that person, that is the most powerful immersive you can get, right?
Yeah.
So the visual aesthetic is absolutely important, and jello effect and all these things that, as great as GoPros are, and we use them, they're one of our go-to, cameras when we need it. But the director and the cinematographer really wanted to push the boundaries of not just what's convenient, but how do you really make people feel something, and tell your story in a much more hyper realistic way. Whereas a fisheye lens on a GoPro and all the other known issues that we would get wouldn't give us the full cinematic feel. So we drove right into it, and we created a rig that was POV, but POV wearing a Sony Venice that is not a quarter, a few ounces like a GoPro, where it's 5, 6, 7 pounds on the head, is actually very dangerous. So we were very concerned, and Radiant's done a lot of POV stuff. We've done movies like End of Watch. We've done lots of movies that are all POV driven, lots of commercials.
Yeah.
So the only difference is that we have had a little bit of time to make mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and regroup and do it better and refine it. So in our process, what we realize is that it's all about balancing the weight. So if I'm positioning a heavy camera, 5 or 6 pounds here, if I don't have the appropriate counterbalance in the back, the person is just not going to give us a realistic feel. They're going to be too mechanic.
Yeah.
And we want it to flow. So what we did is we put balance of weight between where the camera's at and where the counterweights are. Yeah, and then because they're performing stunts, you saw what we were doing. We had to make sure that the operator wore the camera. So the Venice body, the entire, not the sensor, the entire body was on their back with wireless video, wireless fizz.
Wow.
Everything we needed was on the back, and we made this incredible backpack that's made out of PVC, UVC material, very lightweight material, PVC material, that allows us to keep the weight really low and very rigid. So it forms on their back and they can do all their stunts. And that's how we were able to achieve this. But I take very little credit. The credit really due to the performer.
Yeah.
Who's doing this, because they're the ones that are selling it. And the reason it worked is because we gave the operator a monitor. So we modified an EVF, and we took it and we broke it down so it has a diopter, not just a regular, like a small, like a big EVF, made it really small, and positioned it on their eye, so that they could frame their hands in the right place.
Oh, that is so. Let me show people a little bit about what we're talking about, because we're getting really technical with the POVs and the EVS.
Sure.
Visually, this is what we're talking about right now. And this is an NFL stadium, completely empty. That digitally, the fans and everyone is added afterwards in post. The color and the POVs and the editing, everything, music, everything is just fantastic. But here's the little bit of the behind the scenes of what we're talking about.
It's turning out to be a beautiful day in Kansas City.
Let's go. Let's go, Mike, give me 2.
Trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me to end. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, clouds of white, bright as the day. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
So that last shot, I see what you mean. The counterweight.
Yeah.
You literally have dumbbells on the back of the head to balance the huge camera. You got football players literally becoming camera people in this production, and it's just so hyper realistic and so beautiful. I think it was a fantastic.
Key points. Number one, we didn't completely disrupt the way the performer would normally do things. They were able to run, move, and sell the realism because we made it very realistic. By balancing the weight, it was really helpful. Now, we got a lot of posts like, hey, why don't you just use a GoPro? Look, of course we could have used a GoPro, and that is the first instinct most people have is go for the most convenient and the easiest. And it is. Sometimes the best solution is to go for the most convenient and the easiest. But there are times when you're selling or conveying bigger than life experiences, larger than even our imaginations.
Yeah.
And they're what we call in the cinema, the unspoken words. And those are how you make people feel.
Yeah.
Those are through high visual practices.
Yeah.
Of course, we could have done the easiest. Anyone could. And I encourage it. We should. But there are times you need to show bigger than life. And that's what that does.
Awesome.
And that I hope it came across. Again, also we're shooting with Phantom Flex. We're shooting with all these incredible cameras to show the hyper realism and suspending time and disbelief at the same time.
And the beauty of it too. I GoPros, I mean, maybe someone could have made it magically look like that, but I highly doubt it. It's just the quality is breathtaking and very clear. Now, speaking of the NFL, and when I had Michael Shaboon, another
my friend Michael.
I had him on earlier, and we were talking about that NFL amazing project where you kind of rigged the Insta360 Pro 2 to the swinging cameras that are in these cable line aerial cameras that are in these NFL stadiums. I'm going to show a little bit about that, and then let's talk a little bit about that project and how that was achieved and some of the lessons and things that you learned. I don't think I uploaded the right video. Forgive me.
It's all right. It's all right.
We got a little bit of a clip of it, and these cameras were suspended over the air outside of the stadium and then projected onto a dome. Tell me a little bit about that and how that worked.
So how it all happened was we got a call from our collaborators at Flight School. We worked with Pete Herzog and his team, Ryan and Gerard, for many years, and we've done actually several NFL projects with them and NHL, and it's always been about immersive. Mm-hmm. This one was a little bit different because the requirements were incredibly challenging. Part of things I'm not going to speak for the rest of the world, at least from our side, we've never done, and it was this. They wanted to shoot in 8K, but they wanted to be live, not post-process. So live, streaming, 8K, and then here's the clincher. They wanted to go into a dome, and at the same time, they wanted to go into new mobile phones, and they wanted this to also be carried over the 5G network. And as everyone knows, 5G is relatively new, and problem is, the challenges is that the infrastructure is there. Like there's the pipeline, the freeway systems are there, but the devices, the cars that drive you from location to location, OEM manufacturers that make, we call these the devices or the cars that run on that freeway, there's not that many. So what do we do, and how do we innovate, and how do we test things out on things that when there's no other OEMs? So that was a challenging thing. And then the other requirement was, hey, we cannot disrupt how ESPN captures an NFL. They're not going to change anything for you, so you need to figure it out. And
so that means that you had to get into like because the Insta360 Pro 2 has HDMI, you had to take that into SDI. That's what we were talking about in with Michael Shaboom. And I think that I don't want to get super technical, but did you have to use like a kind of like a Blackmagic capture card? Was it?
Yeah, I'll go through the workflow quickly. Reason we can't stay on HDMI is because when we're taking multiple feeds from multiple cameras and going into another more, let's just not call it professional, let's just say another alternative way of broadcasters, which are traditional broadcasters.
Yeah.
They don't touch HDMI unless for a few seconds, but typically it's powered through SDI because of its robust connection and data put, and also the fact that it's a standard, a broadcast standard.
But you have to use SDI because regular SDI can't handle it.
Yeah, so the problem with normal SDI is it's capped out at 1.5 G.
Yeah.
So what do we need when we're doing, so that could transfer 1080 image. So when we want to go into 4K, we need 6G and if we're going into higher frame rate, then we need even more.
Yeah.
So when we're going into 8K, it's 12G SDI.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're going into high frame rate 8K, it's quad. So it's a lot of bandwidth.
Wow.
So we took the information in through IP-based camera protocol, which is the Ethernet port of the camera, into a fiber, which is already ran inside this cable cam / space cam, spider cam. And the spider cam is doing its normal moves. We mounted the camera, our 360 camera, underneath the traditional broadcast camera. Again, we have to fit within their normal workflow.
Yeah.
So of course their cameras tilt and pivot, and they're constantly moving. So what do we do to fix that? So yeah, we had to think about that. How do we fix that? We needed a real-time, on-the-fly controller box that one of our programmers made, and what that does is allows us to constantly reframe the camera. The reason that's important is because if I'm sitting inside of a dome and my entire world is doing this, well, you're going to get people running out of the theater. Really.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what we have to do is do several things. The reason the 5G worked in our favor at this point is because we also positioned a 360 camera inside the dome, inside where it's getting projected.
Huh.
Yeah, and then we had another one that was on the football field. The director is able to see what the audience is experiencing. We can make fine adjustments. So it gives us a dual-way communication. And reality is that all these buzzwords like 5G and all these things, they don't mean anything unless you have a real problem that you're solving.
Yeah.
What are you doing that nothing else can do? And in our world, things don't lift unless the following 3 criteria are met. It's got to be faster.
Yes.
It's got to be cheaper. It's got to be better.
Yes.
You cannot do all those 3 at the same time. It's a cool, fun project that doesn't go anywhere. So we have to solve problems. And how we're going to solve problems with 5G is this kind of exercise when you can do back and forth communication faster, cheaper, and better.
And that's the beauty of 5G, because not only does it solve like lots of problems. So for inside of a whole stadium, when everybody's doing video and uploading and taking photos at the same time, the cell networks can't handle that many data points at once. This 5G solves that problem. 5G also solves a lot of the bandwidth of getting a lot of data into the devices. So then the device itself, which is the phone, can handle less of the process because all the process is happening at the edge of the network. And that is, I think, where it's going to open up so many applications for more robust technologies that cannot be physically done inside of phones at this moment in time, because they can't process really robust graphics in a small device like that without overheating or just killing your battery.
Yeah, the analogy I give is 10, 15 years ago, the bandwidth that we had was only for sending a picture, not videos, right?
Oh my gosh.
You couldn't send a video. 7 years later, after that, we were able to finally send the 1080 video. But you can't stream a 4K consistently, 4K or now 8K, and we're probably moving closer to 16K hopefully soon as well.
Yeah.
So the point is the following: is that yes, these are enablers, but you have to find the right project that elevates it, not just do things for the sake of doing things.
No.
What is it trying to solve, and how do we affect it? And that's where we've had really good collaboration with our team and people who we work with, because they're interested in more interesting questions. Are we solving things, or are we just doing it for an exercise?
Well, that's a great segue. I wanted to talk a little bit about just regular projects. Now, maybe you're watching this and thinking, I'm not the NFL. I don't have a huge budget for this crazy, amazing project. I want to show a little bit of a smaller project. This is for a cruise line, which, again, an industry that's really suffering. But just showcasing this Caribbean chef, which I found on and I found it really, really interesting. I want to ask a couple questions about how you did this production. Now, for anyone viewing this, tell me where the camera is. Question mark. He knows the answer.
I don't know.
He knows the answer. I know the answer. But do you know the answer?
I don't even know what you're going to show. You're staring right now. You're staring.
Scene.
Hello everyone, my name is Ansel Davis. I'm from Ocherius, Jamaica. I'm an executive sous chef here in the Harmony of the Seas.
I can remember when I was being interviewed, the emphasis was on my personality rather than my knowledge, because you can teach someone to cook, you can't teach someone to be passionate about something.
How are we doing?
The key to success for a chef, on a ship, is to always do a little bit more. Always invest in yourself a little. Investment is preparation, and when you're prepared, then you can move forward. How important is teamwork and the team dynamic on the ship? But you all are empowered. You're the final eye who's going to see the food before it reaches to the guests. Okay? When we have a tasting, you're like, okay, the chef is coming, I want to make it perfect. You need to bear in mind we need to do this for each and every guest. Right? We never treat the dish like it's for a group. Each dish is for one individual. The way forward is to engage the guests. Nothing for the guests like when they see a chef come out and talk to them. The feedback is important. Well, my favorite thing to do in Puerto Rico, I rarely get off, so when I do have the time, I'll go downtown and have a beer, I'll have some lunch.
Hello. Yeah, it's only for one. Thank you. Yeah, I think I'm gonna try that.
And I've been with the company for 8 years, and my journey has been really, really a wonderful experience.
That is beautiful as well. Some nice places here, huh? Yes. Beautiful, yeah.
Preparation is the key, and communication, right? If you're prepared, you already know your shot, just be prepared. Put in the extra work today for tomorrow, and then tomorrow for the next day, and you stay ahead.
Pretty cool. I remember that video.
I found it in the archives. I couldn't believe the way it's kind of like I tried to do a project like this where you had a 360 camera in front of the subject, but that they're not holding it like the invisible selfie stick.
Yeah, exactly.
That you see with everyone. He's walking around, if you notice, but the camera is following him and tracking him at all points of time. I have an idea of how you did it, but I want to hear confirmation because I had my way of doing it.
Yeah, so it's an interesting project. It actually brings back really old memories. This method was something that we discovered before even 360 was a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we did this back, I think, in 2010. First time.
Wow.
Yeah, we took. We had this really incredible directors. One of my favorite crazy directors. Their team. They're called the Snorri brothers. Either Snorri and Enor Snorri, who we collaborate with on a lot of projects, and they're really good friends of ours. So usually when I get a call from them, I'm always like, oh, it's gonna be an interesting ride. So they called us and said, hey, what we want to do is we want to do transitions from going from one experience to another experience, and we have this middle-aged woman that is walking, and then we transition and the whole world changes. And I've always been incredibly fascinated with a movie back in the 60s called Le Mans. They experimented with that mythology where they mounted 3 cameras on the hood of the car, and as the car went, they digitally panned the camera, right? So that's what they wanted to do. They wanted to do a digital wipe and pan. And we've done experiments of that in the past before. We did it with a bowling ball, like we were POV a bowling ball going through, and then before it hits, we get to look back and see the reaction of the person who threw the ball. And we did that with an array of cameras, not 360, the belt line. We just did the belt line, and we're going frame, connection, overlap, right? So they wanted to do the same method. The problem is the camera would weigh like 60 pounds, and it needs to be, because it's a whole bunch of cameras with lenses, with remote focus, with all that. And it needed to be mounted on her body as she's walking. So we're like, okay, we're going to have to do this with GoPros. And we're going to take a bunch of GoPros, we're going to group them together. And it's going to allow us to do your pan and wipe. And they could do all those things. And the workflow of 360, the way we know, look, 2010.
Yeah, I remember. Trust me.
There wasn't anything there.
Yeah. So how did you mount it onto how did you mount it?
So the Snorri brothers originally built this rig called the Snorri Cam, and they made it for Darren Aronofsky for his movie Requiem to a Dream.
Okay.
And it was called the Snorri Cam, and it's been used on many movies, and we've used it on tons of stuff. But I was introduced to their camera mount, which is called the Snorri Cam, which is a body mount that you wear on your hip. Yeah. And it's got the thing, and it's the difference between that and, let's say, Doggy Cam and a couple other things out there, it's that it's super small, lightweight, and it lets us hide the 360 because the pole is just
invisible.
Minimal. It doesn't have all that gag like Doggy Cam does. As much as I love Doggy Cam, we've used it on many projects, but for 360, it's kind of hard to justify the reason. And what we did on this project was the same thing. Yep. So Royal Caribbean reached out to us, and they wanted to do something that was that changed their ad campaigns. Mm-hmm. And what we pitched them was this: we want you to shoot in 360, not because we want you to shoot in immersive. We want you to shoot in 360 because we're going to get 3 deliveries for you. We're going to get you your immersive experience. It's going to be pretty much at free. And then we're going to deliver you a 2D commercial that the director, which was the Snorri brothers, they directed that piece. We get to control the camera's movement and give it the energy that it needs, right? Mm-hmm. So that's where creative ways of using immersive for traditional works. And it was a very successful ad campaign. We did several projects with that at the same time. The challenging part was we were stuck in a cruise ship for about 2 weeks and shooting every day on a cruise ship. So that was probably the most challenging part.
Oh, that sounds like a real hard challenge. Let me woo! I got the little violin for you. That sounds awesome, actually. So, this is our time for today. Thank you so much for being on the show. Anyone wants to check out or hire Michael Mansouri, please check out Radiant Images, and you'll see the most breathtaking, amazing work. I'm going to show a little a bit of something that I also found that was funny. I think it's the Muppets. Kermit the Frog project.
I love that
End with that little treasure for all the people that stuck around to the end of the show. Here's a little fun project that I found.
It's best to follow us on social media. We have a lot of these things posted on social media.
Oh yes, okay.
Facebook, obviously.
Yes.
We're very active in there, and we respond to all questions and requests.
Okay.
So please follow us. But yeah, I'd love to see Kermit again.
Yeah, here you go. Kermit the Frog.
Oh,
You're a pretty good driver.
I try to be. Whoa.
Hey,
Thing's
watch
turkey.
it. Watch it, heavy foot. Mr. Lead Feet.
Mr. Lead-webbed feet.
Yeah.
We'll just get some gas, and then we'll be on our way.
Okay.
Let's see if we can pull up here. This one looks like full service. That's probably good.
Put the window down.
Oh, excuse me, sir.
How are you?
Hi there, I'm very well. I wonder if you could possibly clean my windshield for me. Is that something you do?
Sure, no problem. I can
Yeah,
do it for you.
thank you. And if you should scrape any bugs off, don't throw them away, just put them in a cup.
Okay.
That'd be great for me.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay.
Now the Highlander will be nice and clean for the premiere.
Yeah.
Piggy will like that.
Who cares what Piggy wants?
I know, but I got
She's gonna make it dirty inside.
That's true.
Hola. Come around this way.
Hey, come over here.
Hola.
Hi, folks. How are you?
How are you?
Nice to see you. Good to see you. I'm Kermit. Gee.
Boy, they like you.
I get this reaction a lot.
You make them squeal.
I know.
Bye, Pepe.
Hola, baby.
Who's that out there?
Very cute, Pepe.
How are you? I love you. Want to go for a ride in our new Highlander?
Where are you going now?
Well, we're on the way to the big premiere of our new movie, Muppets Most Wanted.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Yeah.
excited.
So do you all just like hang around at gas stations? What's the deal?
No, we work here.
Oh, you work here. Oh, I see.
Not right now. You're not working.
No, we're not.
No, we're just having fun. Hey, thank you guys. It was terrific to see you all. Bye. Bye-bye. Take care.
Did we get gas?
I don't know what happened.
Wait, there's a blonde woman. Look.
Bye, blonde woman.
Kermit, go up. There's. Oh, Kermit, look.
Oh,
The
my
wee
goodness.
ones. The wee
Nice.
ones.
Oh, she's, yeah.
Oh.